Hello, hello, NBA fans. We've got an epic podcast for you. We're going to recap all the big game sevens and other games from the weekend. And then we're going to have our series predictions for round two. Doug's here with me.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Let's get it popping.
And then I also want to talk about the Dropping Dimes draft proposal. And I got to say, the draft proposal that I gave you guys, this was before the NBA dropped theirs. My draft proposal, the NBA's draft proposal, very close. Very
Very, very.
close. I'm thinking they must have read mine and they're like, okay, this is the one. That's because I hadn't
Yeah.
heard this coming through the wire before. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but we could maybe touch on that a little later. First of all, let's go into the weekend, man. Wow, 3 game sevens. First time this happened since 2014. I think to me, the big theme of the whole weekend was just about teams going cold, man. Some of these teams that lost just going like scoreless for so long. I mean, I was watching the Pistons game with a bunch of people from Michigan, and we all left, man. We were like playing Cornhole and stuff. Magic went up 24 zip. They were all pissed off, like, oh, of course, blah, blah, blah. And then, wow, the Pistons went on a 26-1 run. This was over 10 and a half minutes. It was like a 35-4 run lasting 13 minutes. The Magic missed 23 straight buckets, man.
hmm That was in game. That was in game 6.
That was it. That was the game 6. That was crazy.
hmm
Last night, the Cavs had a 17-1 run spanning from the end of the second to the
hmm
beginning of the third. That really changed the game around. Six minutes of no buckets from the Raptors. And Lakers Rockets game 6, they had a 27-3 run, 9 minutes long, that helped them. That was right in the beginning of the game, but that the Rockets couldn't come back from that, and that helped him close out the series. But let's get into the games a little closer. So first off, let's talk Cavs Raptors. That was our late night game last night, and the Cavs pulled it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good game. I want to say Allen finally stepped it up. He had a big game that last night. Had like 19 rebounds and 22 points, and then definitely had some blocks. He finally, like I said, showed that the big men for Cleveland needed to step up and win this game. James Harden and Mitchell did have a their slump. Trying to score and wasn't making too much, but they finally realized defense wins games, and pass the ball to the bigs, and it opens up for them. Allen did get a lot of fast breaks though. He did get a lot of fast break points too, playing defense, blocking or deflecting the ball out, and then coming down court, and they just finding the big man on the run.
Yeah,
It
he
was
even
it
had
was
a
a good game.
steal, I think. Yeah, his
Yeah.
third quarter was like the big difference. All the points he was making. He's just such
hmm
a mild mannered guy. I don't know if you saw him in
Yeah.
the interview beforehand, but he just kind of
Very
sounds
polite.
like a very polite, sounds like a librarian or something.
Yeah.
But then he started to get a little angry. At the end of the game, he's yelling, go home,
hmm Yep. He
and
was telling them go.
bashing people in the face and stuff. And so it was yeah, a huge game from Jared Allen.
hmm
And I gotta say, my boy from Cal, Tyson, he tied it up at halftime. He made
hmm
some timely
Some
plays.
important shot. Yeah.
Harden, of course, did his usual choke job, 3 for 9. He's always 2 for 3 for in these closeout games.
His points
But he
came from the
did,
free throw line.
yeah. He's really good at getting the free throw line. Really good at he's just flopping and drawing fouls, and that was his most important play of the whole game was him getting that 4th foul on Barnes, because that got Barnes out of the game. James
Yeah.
did a kind of flop. He was laid on the ground. He was asked his teammates like, "Oh, did they call the foul on him? Should I get up now?" Whispering to him, and I didn't call it a good play because it's kind of crappy basketball, to be honest, but
Mhm.
it worked, and that hurt the Raptors a lot. They couldn't quite make that comeback once
Yeah, it
Barnes was
was.
out.
Yeah, because he, like I said, he's the heart and soul of that team. He does a lot. RJ Barrett was trying to do a lot. and he wasn't making his shots. He was 9 for 25. When RJ was trying to take over while Barnes was on the bench with foul trouble, it was kind of hard. So and then on top of that, they didn't have Ingram either. So their points collection was like really really slim. So it was kind of hard. And then the rookie coming off the bench, he only had eight points. So he was in the game, but he wasn't in the game pretty much. So that played a part in their loss. But they still got a bright future because they still got a lot of young players on their team, and a couple of injuries that still played a part in it too. So if it would have had
I
quickly, it
love,
probably been different.
yeah, maybe. I love the way they were playing. I think this is probably because they didn't have Brandon Ingram, but they were pinging the ball around. Remind me of the early 2010 Spurs. They were just
Hmm.
passing, always attacking. You know what? I think that coach might have something good going there. So amazing battle by them all series, and yeah, hopefully their future looks bright. The Cavs just they were at home, and we were at home. You get those free throw calls. You had Struce drawing fouls, Harden, as we mentioned. Struce was like headbutting somebody when they were up 15. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah,
But
doing too much.
Schroeder was in, and he's my boy a little bit. He just got to the rim. He had like a wide open rim. He misses the layup. He was only 1 for 7, so that kind of hurt. But at least they're playing him. They did not play Keon Ellis again, and we'll talk about that more in our series preview. But that could be a big key to the series is getting Keon
Yeah,
Ellis in there, and I'm a little worried
yes,
because he hasn't played. He hasn't played at all since the first 4 games.
hmm
All right, let's move on to that Pistons Magic game. Number 1 versus the 8 seed. We got Orlando had a 3-1 lead. It was looking like the Pistons sort of miracle season was all but coming to an end. We already touched on that huge comeback the Pistons had where the Magic just went so cold.
you're right. All right, Game 6, and then Game 7, it was just a whole different ball game. Detroit did what they did since 2003. Down 3-1 and come back and win, and that was the Tracy McGrady and Doc Rivers era. So the Magic then choked again, and also the coach got fired today too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I mean,
And you know what? I'm going to say, even though he gets his team to play defense, which I think is an amazing thing for any coach to do, there's just some simple math that the Orlando Magic doesn't seem to understand. It's about efficiency, right? There's been this whole 3-point revolution in the NBA, right? Because 3 points are more than 2. Every time you hit a 3-pointer, it's like 1.5 times the amount of points as a 2-pointer. That means it's like if you shooting 40% from 3, it's really like shooting 60% from 2, right? Because you can multiply that by 50% or 150%. So, however, the Magic, all of them shoot so bad from 3, their 2-point percentages, except for Desmond Bain, their 2-point percentages are all much better than 1.5 times their 3-point percentages. They should all be shooting 2s. When they blitzed the Hornets, when they killed us, they were just driving in every time. They weren't shooting 3s. They were driving into us. That's what they need to be doing against the Pistons. Instead, you got Jalen Suggs like shooting 3s
but
over and over again. Like, don't you get that you're
but
not hitting these, dude? Like,
yeah,
what the
not
heck?
hitting them at all. Like I said, that was another reason why they lost that series because of him, because he shot a lot of times in some of those games that he only made 1 out of 12, 2 out of 9.
They won that game, which
Yeah,
maybe just emboldened
yeah,
him to keep doing it. But that
yeah.
was
But
like,
it still
dude,
hurts. Yeah, it still hurts you in the long run because you're still trying to force something that you're not good at. You're a defensive player. You need to drive the ball, if anything, and get those fouls. But I don't know. It's just I felt like that was another reason why the coach got fired because he did not play certain players correctly. Like, I mean, with Suggs, I mean, of course, you got him as your starter, and last year they had like 3 point guards, and they had to get rid of one, which was Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony does not just continue shoots threes all the time, but they decided to get rid of him, and Black, they didn't start him. They had him come off the bench thinking that would make a little bit difference, but they didn't play him as well as they should. But it's an interesting league. I don't know if they're going to try to break that team up as far as getting another point guard. a legit point guard, but Suggs is really a backup. He really needs to be a backup guard instead
I
of a
mean, they're
starter.
paying him $32 million a year for the next 4 years, man. I mean, I don't even
Yeah.
know if they can trade this guy's contract, especially not now after this series. Maybe if they rejuvenated him a little bit. I mean, yeah, I mean, Mosley needed to tell him, you shoot another three, man, I'll chop your fingers off. Like, and
just just come sit
that was not.
beside me, buddy, on the bench.
Yeah, yeah, or just maybe that's a little a little nicer. But yeah, right. Just don't play him. I mean, it's not like Anthony Black's a great 3-point shooter either. So
Yeah,
he a little bit doesn't have great options there. Interesting, you
yeah,
mentioned Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony can at least shoot a bit of a microwave player.
yeah,
But yeah, they don't
yeah,
even have that option anymore. Yeah, and Desmond Bane, who can hit those threes, he's not a point guard. He's not a drive it to the hole type of creator. He needs
mhm,
people creating those shots for him.
yeah,
And
and finding his
and
spacing for him.
yeah, too many times it's not ending up in Bane's hands for the three. It's ending up in like Suggs. And yeah, there's a reason you're open.
Exactly, exactly.
I mean, at least he only shot 4 of them in this last game.
And it's just crazy to see that Detroit came back and won that series, and
Especially down
all those turnovers.
24 in the 6th, man.
Yeah, yeah, and Tobias Harris stepped up too. He dropped 30. Like that was a big help for them. Not just only having Cade Cunningham scoring over 30. You had Tobias over there stepping up and finding his role and making sure he plays the way he plays. When he was with Orlando, because he was definitely hooping like this in Orlando. So he had to get his space back against his old team. Finally opened up. Him and Durant. Durant had a good game too. He finally got double digits in points and then double digits in rebounds. So he got him a nice double double. And just it was just a team effort. And then your boy Jennings started scoring a little bit more too. So you wasn't
Not
expecting him
my
to
boy.
score as much.
Not my boy.
It definitely surprised a lot of people too.
Harris never played. Oh, he did play for Orlando. Shoot.
Yeah, he played for
You're
Orlando.
right.
Yeah,
I completely
yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah. He
He
was
was
hooping.
great. Yeah, he was great, and he was key in all these wins that they had the last 3
Hmm.
games.
Right, right.
Really, as the secondary scorer that they really needed. So yeah, good job by him.
Yeah,
And Cade limited his turnovers to just 4 this time. So I think that
yeah,
was also a
yeah. That was
key.
what they did. Yeah, made a
The,
p-
the
made
ma-
a play. He made a play in the series though, because definitely he had to get that together before he turned the ball over and lose the game. But he made sure that he was good on his turnovers.
yeah, yeah, Cade was awesome. I mean, he was making it happen pretty much all series except on the turnover side. But
Yeah, he had a lot
12
of the
assists last night.
he had a couple of the Detroit ex players come to watch this game. Ben Wallace was there, Rip Hamilton was there, Isaiah Thomas was there. Him and he set a record with Isaiah Thomas, like you said, and he did another one I think last night for Game 7. So he said it was an honor to have him there, and he made sure he did what he needed to do to win the game in front of him. So sometimes legends do make a difference for you.
Yeah. All right. Any other notes on this series, on this game?
Nah,
Or
nah,
yeah.
it's gonna be an interesting series against Detroit and Cleveland though. We're gonna see how that turns out.
All right, we'll get to that later. Let's finish up with the weekend games. Celtics 76ers. Wow, wow, wow. I can't believe it, but the 76ers pulled this one out. Embiid has really played well, flopping his way to victory. Brown Brown went off on him and on the refs on Twitch for calling an offensive fouls on him, and also Embiid's flopping. But I got to say, I think they called it both ways, and I love these refs. James Capers, Petritus, and Tyler Ford. I want them ref in every single OKC game.
I knew he was gonna say that. I knew it.
Because they were actually calling the push-offs.
Yeah, on
And
both ways.
that's the way it's supposed to go. I mean, that's
Hmm.
that's real basketball to me. So
Yeah. Did they get him on Preacher too? Because he loves to do that push off.
Good question, but I remember they're calling him both sides. I think they might have gotten
Mhm.
Maxey. I think, for the Celtics, they just had no Jason Tatum. Starting Garza didn't work. Probably not playing Vucevic at all was a bit of an overreaction. He at least gives
And
some
there was nothing
size on
wrong with him, was
Embiid.
there? It wasn't nothing wrong with him, right? Was he hurt?
I don't think so.
'Cause
Just says
I don't think he was.
DNP.
Yeah, he just
Just
didn't
says
play.
coach's decision. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't play. So that sounds like, that could have been just, let's get this playoffs over with. Let's just lose. That's how it looked to me, not playing your star players and everything. You're just playing, because Tatum didn't play. Because all of that looked like for the Sixers to win, man. Like once Tatum,
No.
and that was Tatum was like a last minute thing too. Like because Brown even said, he said, I didn't know that he wasn't gonna play till it was like game time. So it was like, I guess he was just expecting them two to go off and just go ahead and win the series. But Tatum didn't get to play. I guess because that injury that happened in game 6
Yeah. I
that
mean,
put him
I assume
apart.
Tatum's injury is legit. I mean, I can't imagine Missoula like saying I'm gonna give up any series. Like,
Yeah,
I think there's some stats that, Vucevic just on the defensive end, it's just is bad. But I mean, I think when you're playing against Embiid, it's not like he's slower than Embiid.
yeah,
So I don't know.
he
I think they
definitely
could
could have
use that
guarded.
size out there. I think, there's a lot of stats like that for Jacob Podol in the Raptors, but he actually was +9. And he's getting the guards. It gives a big center like that, gives the guards a person to pass to. And on the offensive end can really help there. On the defensive end can help with weak side blocks. I know that these guys can tend to give up points on switches, but
It
that's
just
tough.
depends on your decision making when you're taking those pick and rolls and what you want to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot though, man. Are they gonna try to go for Giannis? You think they're gonna try to go trade for Giannis?
The Celtics?
Yeah,
Oh, is that what the buzz is about now?
yeah. It's like a couple of teams that's trying to get Giannis, and the Celtics was one of them. I don't know how that would look, but the Celtics did. It's their first time in franchise history be up 3-1 and then lose. So this is the first time this ever happened in franchise history. So this is kind of it's always a first for everything. But as a
Yeah.
the Lucky Green, they always come through.
With the luck of the Irish ran out, huh? That
Yeah,
four-leaf clover turned into three. I think I don't think they should overreact. Like they weren't supposed to do anything this year. Tatum looked really good. Again, he goes out in another game with injury, but he's coming off an Achilles, man. I think they still have a good core, and it would be nice if Derek White found a shot, but yeah, they could use a good big man. But to get Embiid, or sorry, to get Giannis, I assume they'd have to trade one of Tatum or Brown.
no Brown. Yeah, which I think it probably would be Brown. Be Brown and some draft picks or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, man. I mean, I wouldn't do. I mean, the age thing.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
I'd do that, man. But Giannis is really, really good. Well, let's move on. I think we covered all those series. Oh, we got the Lakers. Let's talk about the Lakers real quick.
yeah.
It was kind of like as I thought. Basically, they just didn't double Shingun and they won. I
Mhm.
mean, it's
And they
simple.
won. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Aiden did a fine job of single covering
And the
him. He had
bottom.
a nice block.
Yeah, because it
But
makes it
Shingun,
makes sense. Go ahead, go ahead. My
I'm
bad, my bad. Go ahead.
okay. I am going to call you out though. Shingun did play some defense. He had a chase down block on Kennard. He played okay on LeBron. So I know you've been dissing his defense, but I think he tries hard, man.
Yeah, he does. He does, but it's more. He got to be more vocal than anything because he's a big man, so he's got to call everything out so everybody can be accountable. But it takes a team, for them to get together and to do everything for it to work. But he's all offense. No, get me wrong. He is all offense. He definitely can score in and out and whatnot. But it's just more, I need more defense out of that big man. Just, for him to lead the team in scoring, he got to lead the team also in defense too, because he's gonna be accountable.
Yeah. I think, no Kevin Durant, no Van Vliet. It makes sense. I think Tari Eason came in and he was okay. He did okay on LeBron, but LeBron still got 28. LeBron just basically wasn't going to let his team lose.
Nah, he definitely wasn't. He was making sure
Yeah,
that team stayed together and won that. Now, is
yeah,
Luka coming back the next series now? That's the question.
yeah. That is the question. So let's get into our next round previews. So first of all, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's check in on our series predictions. So I think it looks like each of us were 5-3. We both missed the Celtics, Nuggets, and Rockets. We had all of them advancing. In terms of correct games, though, Doug, you had the Spurs in 5, and I had it as a sweep, and that was the only difference between our series that won. So, Doug,
Yeah.
you're in the lead now. That correct pick. Good job. We'll see how we do going on forward, though. Let's start out our series predictions with Knicks and 76ers. I'll just give you a bit of information. So in the regular season, they split the series 2-2. Embiid played two of those and they split those games. So one of them, Embiid had 38. Towns fouled out in just 16 minutes of play, but the Knicks still won 112-109. In the other game, the Knicks started both centers, but Philly won, interestingly enough. These were all like pretty close games. Philly also won an earlier game without Embiid.
Yeah.
What
Exciting
are
series.
your thoughts on this series?
I mean, this is going to be an interesting one. We're going to see if Embiid be able to play the whole series. I mean, I want to give it to the Sixers, but I feel like the Knicks is going to come out, and win this series. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 4-2, 4-2 Knicks.
All right. Doug's got Knicks in 6. This is a very interesting series. Embiid's
Hmm.
playing very well. Paul George has been playing well. I mean, both of their guards are great. I think Maxey is so good now. I think he's just a real difference maker.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks were built to beat the Celtics. And in our NBA Finals preview, I had the Knicks making it to the finals, but I assumed they were going to be playing the Celtics. Things are a
Yeah.
little different now.
Yeah.
And the
It definitely is.
Sixers, I think the
They've been
Sixers with
looking.
Embiid,
They've been looking hot. They've been looking real hot. Yeah.
they've been looking hot. They can get Towns in foul trouble. I mean, Embiid with his flopping can get anybody in foul trouble, especially the big men. And then Maxey, I mean, Knicks, Knicks got guys that can guard Maxey, but they also got to guard Edgecombe and Paul George. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Philly. I think Philly can win this one in 6.
Okay.
If you're picking the road team, it's best to pick in 6 because that's their home game. I think the wild card is of course injuries. Embiid and Paul George are so fragile; they could go
Hmm.
out anytime, and that could really change things. But I think the Knicks probably actually wanted the Celtics this series, and Sixers might be a
They.
bad matchup for them.
Mhm.
It'll be close though. It's definitely
Yeah,
gonna be
it's gonna be
close.
real close. I feel like it's gonna be a close game. The crowd didn't say they wanted New York. They said they wanted Celtics. So I feel like that might be just it for them. The crowd didn't make the noise like they supposed to. So they said they wanted the Celtics, but they got the Celtics. They didn't say nothing about the Knicks. So we're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah.
Because I believe what
Uh,
last year's series there was it was a real close one too. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting series again, especially with Maxey versus Jalen Brunson, and then Edgecombe a second round play against the Knicks. Just gonna see how he plays with them against them now. But it's just gonna be the matchup, like you said. It's gonna be an interesting matchup for who's gonna guard who. Nobi probably is gonna guard Paul George. I feel like Bridges is probably gonna guard Maxey, and then Brunson gonna have to guard Edgecombe. So he's just gonna have to try to see what he can do with the rookie, and if he can get him to slip on a couple of things and get some scores. But if not, it's gonna be interesting, and especially like you said, Towns and Embiid. If that's gonna be a real good series, or is it gonna be Towns winning that series? So or Embiid winning the series. So never know.
Yeah, I mean Towns would draw Embiid out to the 3-point line, which isn't Embiid's strong suit. I guess it's just if Towns can stay in, he makes a lot of silly fouls. Combine that with Embiid that can draw, that flops and draws fouls even when there aren't necessarily ones. I think we'll see a lot more Mitchell, and yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, it is. this is a series that everybody wants to look at.
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting. All right, let's go to the other series in the East. We got Cavs in Detroit. Let me give you some season series stats. So again, they were tied up 2-2. They were all close games except for the first, which was early, like in October, and I don't think the Pistons had fully formed into what they are now. In the last game, the rosters were pretty close to even, except there's no Mitchell, and the Cavs won. Cade had only 10 points, which I assume is because Keon Ellis was probably on him. Keon Ellis played 27 minutes. Duran was a beast on the boards. He had 14 boards. Mobley and 24 points. Mobley and Allen combined for only 8 boards. But despite all this, the Cavs won. Yeah, I think with Keon Ellis's defense being key. In the previous game, there was no Mitchell or Harden, and Detroit barely won. Duran had 33 points. The Cavs centers scored in the 20s as well. So all the big men played well that game. The Cavs centers were showing out on offense with no Mitchell or Harden there. Just last note is on January 4th, Mitchell had 30 and a loss, and there was no Duran in that game. So yeah, pretty evenly matched. Very, very different styles. The Cavs are all about their guards and offense and scoring. Detroit's more about just total, number one on defense. What are your thoughts, Doug?
But this one, this is going to be an interesting series. Do do Detroit still got it in them? That's the question. I mean, they had to come make that historical run, come back from 3-1. And I don't know if they're going to be tired enough. I mean, both of them actually going to be tired because they all both played seven games. So they're gonna have to get ready and push it through. It's kind of hard to stay on this one. Like you said, Detroit plays real good defense. Kate Cunningham's a fantastic guard. And, if Tobias Harris can still play like he is playing in the last series, that might play a part in it. But I mean, they might spread them out. They might spread Cleveland out a little bit more because Tobias will be at the guard and one of the bigs. So if he's hitting his shots like he's supposed to, I mean, they could win it. But my eyes, I feel like Cleveland got a chance to make this one a little bit better. If they play how they supposed to play with their bigs and use both their bigs to attack Duran, they won't have to worry about anything. They should be able to win this series. And I'm gonna go get this one a 4-2. Go for Cleveland in 6. I'm gonna go with Cleveland in 6 again.
All right. Doug's got Cleveland in 6. So for me, I think, the key to the game is the big men. The Cavs big men are very skinny. They get beasted a lot. And can they rebound? Can they man up against Beef Stew and Jalen Duran? In the regular season, they were getting killed on the boards, but Duran didn't look too good last series, right? Can he find his mojo against these guys? He definitely did in the regular season, so that should be interesting. Another thing is, Donovan Mitchell and his defense. I think in this series, he's got a place to hide. He can hide on Thompson twin. I think a roadmap for a Cavs victory is, like you said, the big men stepping up and also lots of Keon Ellis. Lots of Keon Ellis, Garden, Cade.
Putting pressure
You
on.
know, the Cavs have a bunch of guys they can throw at Cade, like Dean Wade and Max Strus. But I think I don't know, maybe Dean Wade could play him well. But Cade is so crafty. I think they really need Keon Ellis. I don't like that the Cavs sort of put him out of the lineup last series. Maybe it's just because of the matchups. I expect
Yeah.
to see a lot more of them this series. This is a
Yeah,
really
this
tough
series might
one
be
for me.
Yeah, because this series might be a different one, different play for the play style for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I said, they don't have Detroit don't have a lot of big men, but they do have a lot of guard play. So, with with Cleveland, they probably will play Ellis and play Struder a little bit more and everything to help out as far as with the guard play and taking advantage of when Cade Cunningham is sitting down and use their guard play for their bench to help them and get some more points. So it might be a good thing for Cleveland in this matchup. So that's another reason why it's like if the big man can step up and play their way and the backup guards come in and do what they need to do, then it could be a whole different ball game for Detroit to have to guard a little bit more and change their game plan up. So we'll see how this goes in game one, definitely for sure.
Do you expect Cade to guard Harden? They put the Thompson twin on Mitchell, or do they hide Cade on one of the wings from the Cavs?
It really depends off first game. I really feel like it, but I think K's he's gonna do all three. To be honest with you, I feel like he's gonna guard Mitchell, gonna guard James, and then play off ball and let somebody else guard him. Like I could see that going on too. It just depends on how they play it. Because who they got? They got Thompson and yeah, Tobias Harris probably would stay on one of the big men, so it'd be probably Thompson guarding James Harden or either Mitchell and Kate Cunningham probably do it, or either they'll have I can't say Robinson do guarding him, but they might do that too.
Yeah, they need a place to put Robinson.
Yeah,
Maybe Robinson guards Mitchell. I mean Harden.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But if he gets torched now, they probably gonna have no choice but to put because they gonna try to get fouls off him if they watch the series when they played against Orlando. Orlando made sure they got him in foul trouble. So if they pay attention and see who has the mismatch, they'll probably take advantage of it. So that's probably how they need to play it. But with James Harden, he's gonna find that. He's gonna find that mismatch. So especially with the way he plays, he loves to find a mismatch and loves to find his man open. So it all depends.
Yeah, Harden can draw some fouls. That's why Cade on him might be dangerous. All right, just to wrap this up, I think Harden kind of did his choking thing like usual, but the Cavs managed to overcome it, right? And I think that maybe is the key for this Cleveland team, right? Is they've got Mitchell, they've got some other guys with some offensive prowess, and they can get past these 3 for 9, 2 for 10 Harden games. However, I think Jalen Duren's going to come back. He's going to play strong, and I think the Pistons eke this one out. I got Pistons in 7.
Piston going 7. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think it could go either way,
Yeah.
But just if I got to make a call, I guess I'll go for that. They're going to have home court.
Mhm.
The Cavs were taken to 7 games by the Toronto Raptors. Not a great look, and I'm worried about this Keon Ellis relationship with the coach and what's going on there. The big men getting beasted. We'll see. They were able to do it against that 6'7" guy for the Raptors and their rookie Colin Murray Boyles,
Ricky.
but
Yeah.
that's a little different than Jalen Duren and
Detroit.
and Beef Stew.
Yeah. Yeah. B Stu come off the bench though, unless they decide to do B Stu and Durant starting to the co-side with their bigs. But I don't see that happening because then you don't have nobody come off the bench big for that position. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, there's just Reed who looked kind of like Reed thin.
Yeah, he hasn't played that well in this series either. So that's another thing too with him. So I just feel like the big it's gonna go down to the bigs, see how they play in the first 2 games. Especially it's gonna be in Detroit. So if Detroit gets those first 2 games, or either Cleveland get a game out of that, it might be interesting. It might be interesting series. Might go
Yeah,
back and forth, or it might go all the way for Cleveland, or it might go all
I
the way
want to
for
say
Detroit.
I want to say the Pistons kind of don't have enough shooting, but then you got Tobias Harris making shots. Maybe Duncan Robinson can get it back together, and then obviously Cade is kicking butt. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Fucking
comes
yeah.
down. Yeah, comes down to either shutting down Cade, which I think Keon Ellis could do. But anyway, we'll see what the coaches do. I definitely see a roadmap either way. Let's move on to the West and the series there. Let's start with the more interesting one. We got Spurs and T-Wolves injury updates. Ant-Man's listed as questionable, so there's even a chance he could play tonight. I don't know how he's going to look or whatever, but I think he will definitely show up in this series sooner than later. That's good for Minnesota. Minnesota actually won the season series 2-1. Wemby missed one of those games, and Gobert missed one of the games. And in that game, Wemby had 40. So we
Wow.
talked a little bit about this, whether Gobert could guard Wemby, and that'll be interesting to see.
It's gonna be home too. So question is too also are they gonna have
Desunmo,
everybody? Yeah, is
I
Sumo gonna
think
be playing?
Desunmo's day to day. So yeah,
Mm,
that's another big. injury one to watch. My
Yeah,
guess is he'll play, but yeah, I don't know
it's
why
gonna be
I'm
an
guessing.
interesting series. But I feel like this series is really gonna be for the Spurs. You know, everybody's healthy on the Spurs right now. I mean, for for trying to think how to say this because you know Ant-Man is the heart of the team, and they really gonna need him on in this series because Castle and Fox and Harper, they loaded in guard play, so that's really gonna play a part in this series, and especially in this game, the first game. So if not, if Minnesota doesn't have all their guard play playing, it's gonna be more reliable on. It's gonna be more on the bigs, and Daniel's gonna really got to step it up too. So see if his defense is gonna be able to show that walk like he did against the Nuggets. But it might be pushing it a little bit, just a tad bit, because you got Wemby out of nowhere coming out of nowhere blocking everybody's shots. So just it ain't just Castle you got to worry about. You got to worry about Wemby, and you know Fox will take his time and come in later on in the end to close the game out. So it's all over the place with that one. But I really do see the Spurs winning this series, especially if they're gonna take advantage of when Ant's out. They're gonna try to win. They're gonna try to win those games. I don't know. I mean, those injuries in that first series that's what really played a part in this series now. So everybody's got to be on deck. Got to be ready to play. And if they're not gonna be ready to play, they're gonna be might as well get ready to go home.
Wow, man, this is the game that one of these games they played was the one that Anthony Edwards had 55 points in a loss.
Mm,
Wow.
yeah,
He hit 9 threes that game.
I think he was trying to bring the team back too. On top of that one,
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. You got Castle is kind of like coming up. Edwards is established. Wow, 55 points is huge, but they lost.
yeah,
So interesting.
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting series. Like I said, just gonna take. It's just like I said with Ant-Man out, the Spurs have to take advantage of it. If they don't take advantage of it, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a big problem.
Well, yeah, if they were at full strength, would you give the T-Wolves a chance?
I would, but I feel like they would probably come short still.
Yeah, the Spurs are just a juggernaut, man.
Yeah,
But
and they're
this is
loaded.
a
They're loaded all over though.
but this is a tough matchup for them. I mean, they
Mm,
they lost the season series. They shouldn't sleep on these T-Wolves.
yeah,
The
yeah. Shouldn't sleep
T
on them, but it's the playoffs though, and it's the playoffs. So everything changes in the playoffs compared to the
Yeah,
regular
but the
season.
T-Wolves have been to the conference finals 2 years in a row now. But I think this San Antonio Spurs, they're a team fit for the finals. And the T-Wolves, they've been beating the Nuggets. Nuggets are another team fit for the finals. Yeah, I think, it's going to be a battle, especially if Ant-Man comes back. Really hope so. I think we'll get some great games then.
Hmm.
But I'm still going to take the Spurs, and even though they'll be on the road, I'll take them in 6.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Spurs in 5.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. Yeah, especially if Ant-Man doesn't show up or he shows up a little hurt.
Uh, that ankle or either the bone bruise, whichever one it is you got going on. I mean, that plays a part. That's
Yeah, he's got
not too
both
hard to
legs
run up
hurt.
on. Yeah, that's gonna
Yeah,
be the thing.
it
You
was the
might have to.
knee on one side.
Yeah.
That's the recent one.
And then the ankle was the other one. So it's gonna play a part. We'll see how it goes though. We definitely will.
All right,
Yeah.
and the very last series I think is OKC Lakers. Yeah, the Lakers lost every game in the season series. 2 of these were in April, just recently. One was the game that Luca got injured in, and Luca was out for the other one. They're talking like Luca's still far away from returning, maybe game 4 or something. Without Luca, it seems like a short series to me.
Yeah.
I
I
got
see. I see
OKC.
it.
I think maybe the Lakers get 1 game off of them, one of those, home Lakers referee specials, but otherwise, I got OKC in 5.
I'm gonna go. They're gonna get swept. OKC sweeps them.
Yeah,
Even when Luca comes back. Luca comes back and they still drop. He drops 40 and they still lose. I, I
could
just
happen, man. Yeah.
I just feel like I mean, with them, they know how to win without Jay too. Like they play well together. Like everybody plays for each other with OKC, and If they notice somebody's getting hot, they're gonna feed them the ball. They're gonna play around each other. It's not a one man team. It's more everybody. Everybody get a chance to play, get a piece of the pie. Just hey, it's your game. You going off. You're making all your shots. You got the mismatch. We're gonna feed you. Like with that team, like I said, their coach is very very smart. So he definitely knows how to play his players correctly, and he's gonna find a way to stop LeBron too for playing extra well. And they're gonna let LeBron do what he does, but they're gonna not let everybody else do anything else. So and then they got a lot of young boys. Like their roster is just young, so they're gonna run. They're gonna run. They're gonna test the Lakers, and if they can't run with them, they're gonna leave them in the dust. Simple as that. And then on top of that, with OKC, they got two good bigs, Chet and what's my guy name? What's the big guy name? What is his name?
Hardenstein.
Hardenstein,
Hardenstein.
yeah. I want to say Frankenstein. I want to say Frankenstein so bad.
He's not that
but-
stiff, man.
Nah, he's not that stiff, but the name rhymes a little bit. Hardenstein, Frankenstein, a little all
He
together.
is a big dude.
Yeah, he is a big dude. And just with them helping out too. I forgot Williams might be hurt in the beginning of the series too.
I was going to ask you about that. You think it matters with Williams being hurt?
Nah, it doesn't matter. They've been doing it without him when he was coming in, when he came back from his hand surgery and everything. So they've been doing well. Like I said, they all know who needs to step up. And with their backup point guard and Mitchell, he's good. He takes care of the ball and does what he needs to do. And then they got
their backup point, AJ Mitchell.
Yeah, they got a good one, and he's left-handed too, by the way.
Ooh,
yeah,
he was getting a lot of shine earlier in the season. People like him a lot.
Yeah, he definitely. Hopefully, they don't lose him, but he's a good player. And then
they're gonna lose some people, man. They can't pay all.
They can't hold them all. Yeah, you're right. Just think if they was all willing to take a pay cut on certain things just to stay together, that would be the team to talk about if they really would do that. But money talks now. So
I mean, maybe some of them should. Maybe some of these younger guys should, because they're getting a lot of shine now when they're on the NBA champion. But they move over to the Wizards or whoever, Sacramento, whoever pays.
They're not gonna be looking at no rings.
That's you might get paid more, but
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. So, what was your pick? You got OKC in 4. All right, man.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up for us. I just want to say, check out my NBA draft proposal. I have it broken out in YouTube, or it's at the end of our 3rd episode. I'll talk a little bit about what the NBA chose. So their proposal is up the lottery to 16 teams. So now basically the 8th seeds that make the playoffs are also in the lottery. We severely reduced the number of lottery balls. So the top amount you could get for a pick is 3. Those last place or those 8th seed teams would get 1. Teams 11 through 14 would all get 2 lottery balls. And one thing they did that's a little different than my draft proposal is they had the bottom 3 teams only get 2 balls. So they're trying to entice teams to stay out of that bottom 3. That's interesting. I didn't have that in mind, and I think that will encourage teams to win. I think they had one weird thing though, where they say that those bottom 3 teams can't move out of the top 12 picks. I didn't have that in mind. I just had a flat lottery for everybody, for all 14 teams. I don't really know how much that matters. Top 12 versus top 16. Do you think those teams are not going to care about tanking because it guarantees them a top 12? I think at that point, you want to get
do
those.
Whatever they want to, as long as they don't win the first one and then the first round pick and then try to do it again next year, because they can't do it. So I mean, that's the only thing that they can't get. They can't get the first round pick back to back years. So that's the only thing I think that they did say on that.
And that's something that I had in my proposal, which the NBA matched, and they didn't go, as far as I can tell, go into many details about how they would make that happen. I put a lot more details in my proposal. I think, things like even if it's another team's pick, you still can't win it. Otherwise, you could just trade picks back and forth and
Right.
on
Right.
draft
Because
day.
I was just about to say that because there's a couple of teams like OKC got a couple of picks too that's like lower. I think they got like the Clippers pick and some other picks. I think this year coming up. So I mean, I guess that plays a part in it. We're gonna see how that goes though. We're gonna see what that end up looking like.
Yeah, they didn't do much detail about that. If you want to see some more details about a way to do it, like I said, check out my episode 3 pod. What I was talking about is that, even if you trade the picks, like it's whatever team is holding that pick on draft lottery day. And you wouldn't be able to trade those picks out for like a year, even the pick or the person that was picked. So that, teams aren't doing some like shenanigans like I'll give you X if you
Yeah.
take my pick so I can get extra balls,
Yeah.
blah blah. I think
Hmm.
that's the kind of confusion that's going to be caused by these sort of rules, which I think are good because I think overall, like random, we don't want total randomness. We don't want these teams, a team just luckily loading up on drafts. I think one problem with the NBA's thing, especially, is you're going to have these teams that are in the playoffs, like the Atlanta Magic. I mean, the Atlanta Magic could have won last night and they'd be, in the second round of the NBA playoffs. And they also
And still get it.
next week could be getting the first pick, right?
Hmm.
So you got these teams going deep into the playoffs that also have a first pick. I don't think people are going to like that. They might want to think about rescinding that rule. But I guess doing that 3-2-1 kind of gives this, instead of a steep cliff, it's kind of more of an easy drop off. So hopefully we don't get teams trying to tank out of play-in spots. I think that's their thinking. Yeah. Well, I think it's just a proposal at this point, but they're going to vote on it. I think May 27th or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. But listeners, thanks for listening. Like I said, check out my draft proposal. And we're going to be coming back at you Thursday night. And peace out, everybody.
Peace. Peace.